change, there's always going to be controversy.
Did you just link me an Izzzyzzz video of a Monster High deep dive?
Monster High is a brand that is very
I love her videos.
heavily attached to treasured childhood nostalgia and popular throwback Y2K aesthetics, so changing everything up and adapting it for a modern audience was always going to be an extremely tough task. Once upon a time, Monster High was on top of the world. From the very day of its launch in 2010, it was a viral phenomenon, quickly racking up sales in the millions and accruing an audience of adoring fans. But over time, the brand's popularity began to fade, and after a disastrous 20
The downfall of Monster High. I cannot believe this. Bruh. It was so good. It was such a good franchise, and the dolls were amazing, and then it just started sucking, and it just started going. It was all downhill from here.
2016 redesign, which was very poorly received, it essentially spelled the end for
The redesign was so trash.
the once beloved brand. So, needless to say, fans were shocked when in late 2022, a third
I like the new reboot, even though it took a lot of getting used to because a lot of the things are very different. But I like the new reboot a lot.
generation was announced with yet another wave of redesigns and aesthetic
But that
leaps,
past reboot-
fans and accruing an audience of adoring fans. But over time, the brand's popularity began to fade, and after a disastrous 2016
What the fuck is this shit? What have they done to my girls? What the fuck? Look at their faces. What the fuck happened?
redesign, which was very poorly received,
What the fuck happened here?
it
Yeah,
essentially
short
spelled
stack
the end for the
Draculaura-
once beloved brand.
Bro,
So,
they were
needless
like-
to say, fans were shocked when
They were
in
like,
late
how do we make Ironmouse into a Monster High doll? You know what? We'll just, she's my favorite.
2022, a third generation was announced with yet another wave of redesigns and aesthetic changes. And how exactly has this decision been received? It's a mixed bag. Today, let's dive into the third generation of Monster
The
High,
third
from its
generation is
controversial
good, okay?
release to the dolls themselves to
At first, when the third generation came about, I am going to admit I had some apprehensions and reservations, but I am pleased. I am pleased with this new reboot.
how divided the fandom has been on them. Before we jump in, I just want to give a huge thank you to Life Makeover for sponsoring this video.
Oh my god. Hashtag ad.
About Monster High and
I
the
watched this
history
video,
behind it.
and
If
I
you've
loved
already
it.
seen it, I'm going to be rehashing some of that history now just because it's important.
Wait. You don't like what they did to Claudine? Wait, what about Claudine don't you like? I need to
Context
hear.
for how the
I need to
franchise
hear.
has evolved over time. So I do apologize if we're
I wish they would have expanded the Monster High anime, because the Monster High anime was so good.
treading
It was
some
so
old
cute.
ground here. I promise it's important for the context. Monster High, the original doll line, was released by Mattel in 2010 and quickly
Her Garfield collection is almost as large as your Cinnamon Roll collection. Oh my god. my kindred spirit.
amassed a huge fan base. As the name implies, the doll line was comprised of the
Garfield is
monstrous
everything
undead
Cinnamon Roll
students of
isn't.
Monster High, from Frankie Stein, the child of Frankenstein, to Draculaura, daughter of Dracula, to Claudine Wolf, the daughter of the werewolf, and so on. You get the idea. Over the years, the doll line expanded to include many more characters, all riffing on famous monsters of myth and legend from around the world, and many more series were released, all with new themes and outfits. Kids and tweens loved the
Alright, okay, hear me out. Hear me out.
many
Anybody
more
who's a
series
fan of
were
Monster
released,
High
all with new
who got as
themes and
deep as me.
outfits.
I don't care. I did not care for hold on.
From around the
I did not
world,
care
and many more series were released, all with new themes and outfits.
for Elizabeth. I don't understand why we needed Elizabeth. I didn't give a shit about Elizabeth. I'm sorry, okay?
Kids and tweens loved the fun, colourful characters and the fashion-forward style, and
She is
adult
so
collectors
mid.
loved how detailed and intricate the dolls were, as
She
well as how
is.
mature they
She's
looked. The
completely
characters
mid.
all had unique face sculpts. They had individually sculpted fins and tails and fangs and
Oh,
ears.
Skeletia. Girl, why are you naked?
And this was relatively uncommon
Oh,
in the fashion doll
so.
space, with most lines just using the same cookie cutter molds with different hair colors and outfits. These dolls
By the way, Candy? Candy? Candy, did you know that this is coming out? Uh, Freak the Chic, Draculaura doll coming out. Excuse me. It's gonna be at Comic-Con. Can somebody pick me one up for me, please? I'm like begging you. I will give you my left tit to have this doll. I will give up my left tit for this doll. I need this doll, you don't understand. Please. You don't get it, I need her. I need her so bad. Look at her, she's so fucking cute. Oh my god, I'm gonna fucking die. Look at her. Inundated with Monster High dolls. I have a very extensive Monster High doll collection, which I think I might put up for auction sometime in the near future. I think I might do an auction for my Monster High dolls, because I have so many of them, and I only want to keep a few. But I have a lot of them. I have a lot. Does it surpass your Cinema Roll collection? At this point, no, it does not. But it's pretty large. I want to say I have at least like. I want to say I have a. I don't know. It's hard to say.
Scales
it's hard to say,
and
but I have a lot
tails
of them.
and yellow eyes, and they all looked unique in their own way, even down to minute facial details. The outfits they wore were edgy and striking and pretty contemporary for the era.
Yeah, I would like to auction them off for charity to raise money for charity for the IDF. So we might be doing a Monster High. If anything, the auction will happen during Halloween, which is perfect season for Monster High dolls to be auctioned off. So Monster High doll collection auction in October.
Especially compared to a lot of other popular doll lines who were a bit more traditional, I guess.
I don't think it's an online exclusive candy. I think it's for Comic-Con. I think it's a Comic-Con thing only. Wait, it will be online? Really?
It was the sort of stitched together preppy punk look. Draculaura became iconic for her gothic vampy pink looks. Ghoulia style bordered on scene with lots of stripes and fishnets accompanied by these epic Converse style heels. Operetta style was dark rockabilly / pinup, and the list goes on.
Garrett Sanders, the original creator of Monster High, actually recalled going shopping with girls and being pretty surprised to find that a lot of the time they went for Hot Topic and more alternative / goth fashions.
For other doll lines, the most alternative they
Oh my god. I remember when these Bradzilla dolls came out, and I'm like, what the fuck is this copycat shit? Why did they made this doll line, and then they put out a web series, and I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? Why did they make this shit? No one asked for this. No Bratz people want this Bradzilla shit.
It was one-off Halloween releases, so Monster High was pretty ahead of its time in recognizing the popularity of goth, emo, scene, punk, steampunk, rockabilly, and other alternative subcultures among teens and tweens. Despite the occasional media outrage about how the dolls were evil and satanic, or wore clothes that were too revealing, or were corrupting the youth, Monster High continued to see huge success in the following years. Hundreds of dolls, playsets, figurines, apparel, stationery, and more were released, and you'd be hard-pressed to find a toy store that wasn't stacked to the brim with the freaky, fabulous ghouls.
But all good things must come to an end, and numbers show that the brand began to experience a slight decline.
Dude, there was a huge panic for the Monster High dolls. People were like, they're so evil, they're devil-worshipping dolls, and blah blah blah, and people hated that shit. And I'm just like, Jesus, calm the fuck down, man. They're just dolls. Relax. Yes, there was a panic for the dolls.
Popularity and sales throughout 2014 and 2015. It wasn't cataclysmic or anything. Kids still loved Monster High, and by all accounts the sales were pretty good. But generally companies like Mattel like to refresh and overhaul their brands pretty frequently to keep up with popular trends, especially when they were showing a decline. So in 2016, Mattel decided to refresh Monster High and release the second generation of the beloved brand.
Blech.
And it went down pretty frightfully.
Often cynically referred to as Barbie High.
Oh my god, look how bad they look. Look at their faces. What the fuck have they done to them?
The once gothic and alternative aesthetic
shit.
of the dolls had been replaced by a more kid-friendly Disney / Barbie.
I'm not gonna lie, when these dolls came about, when this generation came out, I lost all interest.
esque style. The dolls
lost
now
all
have softer,
interest in the
more cartoony
franchise.
faces with lighter makeup, and the once stunningly detailed and coordinated outfits which incorporated elements of alternative subcultures were dumbed down. Basic fabric dresses or leggings with clashing prints slapped on top, and much cheaper, poorly painted plasticky accessories. Or even worse, molded clothes.
Oh god, it's so...
This decision was in part because Mattel wanted to renew interest in the brand with a big new rebrand campaign, but they also had some ulterior motives. See, Mattel originally had the toy rights for the Disney princesses, a huge IP that obviously brought in a huge amount of money. But after releasing Ever After High, a fantasy
Okay, so I loved Ever After High a lot. I loved the show. The dolls, I have a love-hate relationship with the dolls because I did like the dolls for the most part. Some of them came out really nice, but some of their faces, the molding for the face was just, it was not it sometimes.
Descendant themed doll line that went in direct competition with Disney's new Descendants doll line, the relationship between the two companies became strained. In late 2014, which as you'll recall is around the time that Monster High sales were beginning to dip, Mattel lost the production rights for the Disney princesses, meaning that they now had a gap in the 8 to 12-year-old demographic that said princesses once filled. It hasn't been confirmed by any official source, so take this with a grain of salt, but it is heavily assumed that the reason that Generation 2
we need some thick princesses. I think some of the new Monster High dolls are like thick. And then there's other doll lines that have come out. What was that other doll line that came out that was like, it was like multicolored hair. They were like called like, they were like rainbow people.
So Disney-esque is because Mattel was trying to fill the hole that the Disney princesses left in their demographics. Thus, why the dolls were given more bug-eyed, cartoony expressions and simplistic, brightly colored outfits to make them more appealing to that younger age bracket. And more importantly, the parents who had that sweet cash in their wallets. Whatever the reason behind the decision to reboot the brand, it went down like a lead balloon. Interest from the general public plummeted, and the reaction from diehard fans was one of bitter disappointment, anger, and mockery. The once iconic, innovative, and very ahead of its time doll line that wasn't afraid to take a chance on something a bit weird and dark and silly had been reduced to cheap generic trash. At this point, it was clear that the spirit of Monster High had well and truly been lost.
However, the Monster High movie that came out at that time, I kind of liked it because it looked kind of like the CGI was so good. Like they tried to like emulate like a claymation type like stop motion animation style, and I really enjoyed the movie. I liked it a lot.
By 2017, just a year after Generation 2's launch, the once steady stream of doll releases had already begun to slow down. In 2018, only 31 toys were released compared to the previous year's 103, and production on Generation 2 of Monster High completely stopped in 2020. It was a pretty odd death for the franchise. It just kind of fizzled out, ending with a whimper and not a bang. There were no announcements or farewells, the doll releases just kind of slowed to a trickle and eventually disappeared. A pretty undignified ending for such a legendary doll line, and fans were not only upset that Monster High had apparently ended, but that it had ended in such an unceremonious way. Mattel went radio silent for the next few years, only re-emerging to release limited edition classic horror collaboration dolls like Greta Gremlin, a take on the Gremlins franchise.
I have this doll! No lie, the second this doll went on sale, I bought it within the first like 2 minutes that it got out, because in 5 minutes this doll was sold out. Like no joke. In 5 minutes. This doll was sold out. I have this doll. I have Greta Gremlin, and I have the Beetlejuice doll, and I have the Lydia doll, and I have there was another one that I have too, but I forgot which one it is.
A Pennywise doll from
the Pennywise doll.
And the Grady twins from The Shining.
I did not get the Grady twins. I couldn't get my hands on these. I don't think these were online. I think this was a Comic-Con thing too, but I couldn't get my hand on these. Fuck.
They were all received fairly well by people who liked those franchises, but not particularly well by Monster High fans who were still waiting for news about, Monster High.
However, interest was piqued in 2022 when Mattel began releasing more Generation 1 style dolls.
The original Cree productions were a line of reproduced original Generation 1 dolls, if you couldn't tell by the name. Haunt Couture was a series of deluxe fashion dolls based on the original cast with more intricate detailing such as rooted eyelashes and premium fabric, and Real Drama was another release of the original dolls, this time in monochrome colors to emulate black and white films, which is really neat. All of this may seem pretty insignificant, companies are gonna cash in on the nostalgia of their old retired brands as much as they can, and at this point it had been a decade since Monster High's original release, so the nostalgia was hitting hard.
But this sudden uptick in merchandise, especially original non-collaboration merchandise, led many fans to believe that Monster High might be making a comeback.
Tensions were high. Fans were desperate, hoping for any sort of news to indicate that the iconic brand was making a comeback, but many more were
how passionate this fandom was. This is a very passionate fandom, okay?
skeptical. After all, the last time Mattel brought back the brand, it didn't exactly go so well.
In fact, it was the decision that many had attributed to the death of the franchise itself, so fair to say that stakes were pretty high. Like stakes, like a vampire stake, You guys get it.
In February of 2021, Nickelodeon announced that they would be releasing a live-action Monster High musical movie alongside a brand new.
The day that this news dropped, people were like, "Oh fuck." I'm not gonna lie, I was fucking worried as shit because I'm like, oh my god, what is live action Monster High even gonna look like?
Animated series. From an animation
and
magazine
of course
article,
it was...
quote, "These classic monsters have always captured kids' imaginations and we are so excited and proud to welcome Monster High to our new brand for a new generation of kids," said Ramsey Nato, president of Nickelodeon Animation. "We have terrific partners on board at Mattel to create original content in different formats, and with the expertise of the Nick creative team helmed by Claudia Spinelli on the animation side and Zach Olin and Shauna Phelan on the live action side, we can't wait to showcase the comedy and adventure of these characters as they defy expectations and take on the world." Now this really had fans interested. With a new full-length movie and TV show secured, it was almost certain that a new generation
The new movie... I don't know, bro. I didn't really like the live action movie that much. It was okay, but it
dolls
wasn't
would
like...
release alongside them. The glimpses that fans got of the live action movie caused a bit of a stir, not just because of
the thing is that for me now, like the characters, I consider like this version of Monster High a completely different version because almost all the characters are different and they don't act like how they used to act. Like, for God's sakes, Deuce isn't even dating Cleo anymore. It's completely, all the characters are like, is that supposed to be Abby? No, I think this is Ghoul. Wait, what the fuck?
kind of dubious makeup and effects, but because it changed the lore in some pretty bold ways.
Abby.
For
There's
example,
Julia.
having beloved couple Cleo and Juice break up. Mattel also dropped a censored teaser image for the TV show. Instagram user @MonsterHighFails was able to lighten up this image to reveal the characters underneath, which gave fans the most accurate look at what the dolls themselves might look like. Laguna was pink with rainbow hair, Draculaura had a split dye haircut, Juice was considered part of the main cast, and the characters seemed to have much flatter, more sneaker-esque styles of feet instead of the tall heels like the previous generations had. It was pretty hard to glean exactly what was going on from this grainy, censored image alone, but regardless, when asked about their feelings about the revamped, pun intended, characters, fans did not hold back. I don't know how to feel about the animated series. I understand they have to change things up since it's a new generation, but my heart will always stay with the originals. I hate it. I hate it so much. Cleo x Juice forever. I'm going to be honest, they better step up the game with the dudes. They look so wimpy and inaccurate to the movies and show. It's upsetting. Furious, where are their heels? Where's my girl Julia? They look younger. They're very colourful, smaller, and not wearing heels. I dislike it very much so far. To be fair, not all of the responses were like this, and there were a lot of fans who were just super hyped to be getting new Monster High, but these little snippets
they made Laguna, they turned Laguna from blue to pink, and now she's like Latina. She's like Latina, and because she used to be Australian, and I liked Australian Laguna, and now she's from like the Caribbean, which is cool for me because like it's cool. Okay, I can support it because she's Latina, but I kind of miss her as an Aussie. I really liked her being from Australia. I liked her Australian accent. I don't know, man. She's She's changed. She's changed. She's not the same Laguna I know. This is a different Laguna.
Should give you an idea of just how riled up a
Literally, why would they pink her? They pinked her. They pinked her good.
large portion
You'll redub it for me? Candy, can you redub Laguna, please?
of the fan base was, and kinda still continues to be. The dolls themselves were released on the 1st of October.
I'm just saying, the only reason why I could get behind this new franchise like this is because Draculaura is a short stack, and she's so cute, and they made her even cuter than last time. And she is just like, oh my god, she's everything. She's like me, for real, for real. I love her. I love her so much. I just want to treasure her forever. And, yeah, I'm Draculaura, and she's me, and, they finally made something just for me. Also, what the fuck is Toralei doing? No one was ever friends with her, and now she's friends with them, and they've changed, and now she's...
in the US at least. For all of us non-American plebs, we had to wait many more months to get our hands even on the basic dolls, but that's a rant that, I'm gonna be honest, you guys don't care about. The release of the Generation 3 Monster High line was controversial to say the least. There has been a huge divide within the fan base, with some praising
I just don't understand why they had to break up Deuce and Cleo. I know Cleo's a bitch and no one liked Cleo, but that's why we loved her, because she was a bitch and we loved her for being a bitch. And deep down inside, she was nice, and she was deserving of being with Deuce. I think her relationship with Deuce was so cute, and now they're not together anymore. Isn't he dating? Wait, is he dating Draculaura? I don't even know if he is or not. I don't know who he's dating now, because Draculaura used to date Claudine's brother.
the new generation as a huge turning point and a monumental success to be celebrated, and others criticizing it as a total failure and basically Generation 2 all over again. So what's the truth? Well, obviously it's subjective and completely up to your own personal taste, but let's actually take a look at the Generation 3 dolls and how they stack up to their predecessors.
Oh, jeez.
The first set of dolls released for Generation 3 was a basic series including the main cast: Draculaura, Frankie Stein, Claudine Wolf, Laguna Blue, and Cleo Denial. Basic dolls of Juice, Gorgon, Gaulia Yelps, and Toralei Stripe were also released as Target exclusives. First up,
They look so cute. Oh my god, look at Draculaura with her little badge. She's so cute. 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 But I also can't help but notice that none of them are wearing super high, tall heels. Like, how times have changed.
and Gaulia Yelps and Toralei Stripe were also released as Target exclusives. First up,
Also, what the fuck? Why does Gaulia have a skateboard?
Gorgon, Gaulia Yelps, and
What the fuck? They gave her a skateboard. She's a skater? What the heck? Okay. Alright.
Toralei Stripe were also released as Target exclusives. First up, Draculaura, probably the most iconic character from the entire series and definitely a fan favorite. Her Generation 3 doll is the
Yo, look how thick her thighs are. What the heck?
character from the entire series and definitely a fan favorite.
Holy shit. Put her next to the other... Like, if they put her next to the original Draculaura doll, holy...
Her
fuck.
Generation 3 doll is the shortest of the main cast and has a notably thicker / curvier body shape than the other characters. She's been heavily touted by the media as a plus-size doll, which has been a bit contentious. We'll get to that in a bit, but it's super cool that she has a unique and frankly more realistic body shape than her original doll, though she maintains the same...
look at how different.
She has a unique and frankly more realistic body shape than her original
Look at her. Look how much they've changed her. They've changed her a lot. But that's not plus size, baby. No. No.
doll, though she maintains the same skin, eye, and hair color. Her makeup has been lightened up, her large red heart decal has been downsized into a tiny black heart, and her hair, while keeping the same colors, is now split dyed and straight rather than...
She's literally me. She's just like me, for real. They made a doll about me.
then streaked and tied up in ponytails. While unfortunately she's missing her iconic pink boots, she still wears a lot of pink and black in a cute gothic style with a satin vest, as well as the super cool black bat bow tie. Bat tie? The gothic elements have definitely been toned down though, with a lot more ruffles and poofs and pink satin, as well as pink love heart heels. I can't deny that I miss the darker makeup and vampire style of the original Draculaura, but considering the more poppy and youthful vibe they were going for with Generation 3, I think they did a pretty good job modernizing her. Frankenstein has received a pretty substantial overhaul.
Yeah,
they're the tallest of the main cast, with pale bluish green skin and long white hair with stark black and blue streaks. While the original doll had greener skin, darker—
Look how different. Like, they changed her a lot. She had like these big ass high heels.
makeup and no blue streaks, the stitch detailing on their body remains pretty faithful to the original, with all the stitches being in the same place. They also have an eyebrow piercing, which is cool. Their style is a lot less edgy than the original, turning the punky, preppy, stitched up school dress into a still pretty preppy but much brighter look, with a plaid skirt and vest over a lightning bolt blouse. The Generation 3 doll is far more colourful, with bright pops of blue, pink, yellow and green to complement the base colours, and I think the more flat shoe style of this generation really works here. These like stitched platform sneakers really are cool as hell and really complement the look. In general, while I love the wacky, extravagant heels of Generation 1, I think giving the characters more flat, sneaker-esque shoes is really good and helps the characters feel more like actual high school students. One of Frankie's most notable new features is their prosthetic leg. From the knee downwards, their leg is made of—
okay, so when the series first launched, they all had a pet. All of them. They all came with a pet. And then, like, the pets were, like, scrapped. But in the Japanese anime and in the Japanese release, they kept pushing the pets in Japan, even though in America, in the United States, they didn't focus on the pets anymore. It was like they just phased out the pets, and now I guess they brought the pets back.
Metal and features some super cool and intricate stitching, plating, and bolt detailing, complete with
there was an anime. It's so cute. It's a short anime, but it exists.
That Frankie has clearly drawn themselves. It's really charming. I love how the Frankie is written upside down because they clearly just drew it from their angle. This incarnation of the character has a lot more personality than they used to, and though the style isn't quite as gothic as it used to be, unfortunately, I still think it works pretty well. It carries over that preppy school student vibe that the original had while brightening it up and modernizing it into something that you could imagine a high schooler in current year actually wearing. The only thing that I really don't like about this doll is the fact that their neck bolts are missing. That was one of the coolest little details of the original doll, so it's pretty disappointing to see that it's missing. Claudine Wolf's redesign is possibly one of the most controversial among hardcore fans. From a discussion on r/Monster High, quote, "I don't even fully hate G3, but this transition is—
Whoa, that's a lot. She looks completely different. Oh man. She looks like a completely different monster. Yeah, she looks like her little sister. She looks like her little sister. What the fuck? She looks like Howleen. Do you guys remember how... I'm saying to you guys. The people who like Monster High, do you remember Howleen? She looks just like Howleen.
So...
But she cute though. I like her. She cute.
She went from it girl to 12-year-old in a Target back to school commercial.
She
it's such a
like
downgrade.
Howleen.
I am honestly shocked at how G3 Claudine is the least fabulous one when she's the main character. I'm trying really hard to get into G3, but Claudine's downgrade is so hard for me to stomach. It's so easy to give her a good outfit. I'm disappointed in the entire reboot, but Claudine has to be the worst. She's not the it girl baddie we used to—
Yeah, I feel like the way they redesigned her, they're trying to like make her into like a, I don't know. She used to be, it's hard to say.
I hate G3, but this transition is so—
They're trying to give her a more sporty look, and she was never really into like—
It's such a downgrade. I am honestly shocked at how G3 Claudine is the least fabulous one when she's the main character. I'm trying really hard to get into G3, but Claudine's downgrade is so hard for me to stomach. It's so easy to give her a good outfit. I'm disappointed in the entire reboot, but Claudine has to be the worst. She's not the it girl baddie we used to know and love. Despite this pretty harsh reception, I actually really like Claudine
Claudine's new design. Comparing the two,
I
it's
don't hate the
undeniable that the
design,
newer doll lacks
just
the
not
glamorous, elegant fashionista vibe that the original had, but valued on its own merits, I still think she looks really cool. Claudine's long curly hair is now a light brownish blonde color with bright purple streaks and is tied into a top knot. As with all the other characters, her makeup has been significantly toned down to be less dark, dramatic, and striking. Instead, this iteration has a wolf-like nose painted on, as well as these super cute freckles, which I really love. She wears purple cheetah print overalls with a pink and black zebra print long sleeve underneath, a moon-themed belt with tiny paw details, and chunky purple sneakers with gold teeth details and paws painted on the bottom, which is a really awesome touch and sure to be a crowd pleaser for all the furries out there. She also wears black earrings in each ear and a golden star and moon pendant. This is definitely a more youthful and fun and, as cringe as it is to say, kinda TikTok-y line of dolls clearly targeted at a more modern demographic, so I think that G3 Claudine
the original dolls, they didn't look like they were in high school.
fits that brief perfectly. She's absolutely not the same original Claudine, which yes sucks because original Claudine is awesome and iconic, but I still think this is a solid design with appealing colors and shapes and a really cute style. Laguna Blue is, well, actually not blue anymore. Her pale blue skin is now light pink and her curly blonde hair is now a rainbow of blonde, blue, and purple and is tied into a long ponytail. She has translucent fins on her legs but lacks the arm fins and webbed fingers of the original doll. But like me and pretty much every other kid I knew back then always just ended up losing the detachable fins anyway, so it's not exactly an element that I crave the return of. I'm so sorry, Laguna, you didn't deserve this. The new version does have super cool, almost translucent blue gradient legs though, which really helps to tie her color scheme together and add to that whole ocean creature vibe. Though unfortunately, as a result of the painting process, most Laguna dolls I've seen, including mine, feature this large unpainted spot right behind the knee joint. It's a pretty glaring issue and becomes really obvious if you decide to pose her legs.
I'm not gonna lie, I like her legs though. That little translucent thing that her leg is doing, I love that shit.
Sideways in any way, which is kind of annoying. Her freckles are far more noticeable in the new design, painted in bright blue with matching blue eyebrows and dots on her forehead representing scales. She's kept her iconic sporty, beachy aesthetic. She wears a pink jersey with a skeletal seahorse design and netted sleeves, as well as tie-dye sports shoes with ruffles made to look like fins. She also wears I don't know what to call it, a fanny pack? We call it a bum bag here in New Zealand, but I gotta be honest, I don't really like either of those options. Anyway, that's what she's wearing and it has a shark tooth design on it. Her doll also comes with a bathing suit, which is a really neat touch. While Laguna's redesign is definitely one of the most drastic, and fans have taken quite a while to get used to it, overall I think I've seen the most positivity towards it in general. Cleo Denial, daughter of the mummy, is probably the ghoul who looks most similar to her original design, at least in my opinion, though there are still a lot of big changes. Cleo's body shape, like Draculaura's, is a bit more curvy and her long dark blue hair with gold streaks is swept into a side part. Her eyes are a gold blue color and her makeup, as expected, is less dark and gothic looking than it once was, though she does have some very cool Egyptian inspired eye makeup and a shiny gold bottom lip. Her dress is a deep turquoise color with various gold and orange patterns on it, and similarly to her original doll, bandage motifs are scattered throughout her design. Gold jewelry and a gold and blue headband complement the outfit. Her boots are long and beige white with blue and orange accents accompanied by a sort of bandage texture. Honestly, it took quite a while for Cleo's new design to grow on me, but once it did, I think she became one of my favorites. The colors all work beautifully together, and again, while personally I prefer the original gothic look of the dolls, I actually think Cleo's new makeup and hair work better than the original to give her a far richer, more striking look. She also comes with this super cool beige jacket with little ribbons.
The way they did her hair is the way they did her sister's hair. Do you guys, the people who are into Monster High, do y'all remember her sister? What was her name? Neferetta or something? Neferetta, I think that was her sister's name. That was her hair. That was her sister's hair. Nefera, right? Nefera, there you go. That's her sister's hair. They just gave it to her. Bro,
tassels on the sleeves, clearly
they're killing off all the sisters.
Meant to be representing bandages, which is really inventive and such a cool way of integrating the mummy theme into trendy clothing. The only thing I don't like about this doll is that she has molded bandage detailing on her arm and leg. I think it's a really cool idea that could work, but it doesn't look quite right since it's just skin colored. If they painted it a slightly lighter or darker color, or even use ribbons and tassels as wraps, I think it would look a bit more natural. Alright, now for a disclaimer, I'm a pitiful, dumb, stupid New Zealander, so I don't actually have access to any of the other dolls that have released in other countries. I'll still go over all the new redesigned characters and how they look compared to their old designs, but yeah, just as a disclaimer, I don't have them in front of me.
Yeah,
Alright, let's begin with Juice Gorgon.
Oh, God.
Juice is literally
fucking quit. This is the worst. This is the worst one. Out of all the dolls, this is the one redesign that I don't like. I did not like this. I did not like this. I don't like it. He looks stupid. Where are his glasses? He was like this cool guy, you know, kind of like himbo energy. Like, he was just a really cool guy. And he totally vibed off of Cleo's vibe. Like, they worked so well together. Now, I don't know what the fuck this is.
really just better in every conceivable way. Sorry if that's a hot take, but it's objectively true. Juice's skin is now pale green instead of white, which looks way better and helps to distinguish him as an actual monster and not just some dude with glasses and snakes for hair.
Cool
and speaking of the hair, instead of being a weird little
I have to say, okay, look, listen. I like his hair in the new version, because the old hair is kind of
mohawk of tiny snakes awkward.
Okay, see, this outfit I can kind of get behind, but Jesus, he looks so young. He looks like his younger brother. Yeah, the old hair is not it. The new hair is good, but where are his glasses? I want him to wear his cool guy glasses. I don't know. I just like this old cool guy energy. You know what I mean?
Perched upon his head, the green snake here is far more blocky.
You know what I feel like? I feel like they kind of like mixed him and Laguna's boyfriend. What was that guy's name? Gil. He kind of gives off Gil vibes too.
And swept to the side, which gives him a much more unique silhouette and looks more like actual hair.
Better.
His face is more expressive and emotive, his eyes are larger and more snaky, and the clothes he wears actually look like clothes that
Bro, Gil was such a fucking dick. Fucking hated him. He was such a fucking dick to Laguna. Fuck that guy.
High schooler would wear while still incorporating Gorgon and snake motifs throughout. In general, probably my favorite redesign of the entire bunch. I don't even really care about Juice Gorgon as a character, I just think they improved him by every metric possible and they did a really good job. The same definitely can't be said for poor Ghoulia though. While Ghoulia is one of, if not my favorite of the original cast, her redesign falls very flat. Her grey skin is now a very pale mint green.
She's a skater. It's fucking Ghoulia. Bob, thank you for the raid. I hope you had a wonderful stream. Hello. Bro, who the fuck is this? Who is this? That's not my fucking Ghoulia. Oh my god, what? A bonus me? You didn't have to do that. What? Chat was telling me that they're like, Mouse, why are you boneless? And I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? Now I understand.
Green color and her iconic arched eyebrows and red lipstick are gone,
what are you
replaced by
talking
thicker,
about? They're like, why are you
natural-colored
boneless
brows
on
and
another
pink
stream?
lipstick.
And I'm like,
She has large pink triangular glasses and silver tombstone earrings.
Yo, who the fuck is this person? This is not good.
Her outfit consists of a black graphic tee with a brain decal, a hot pink vinyl skirt with dripping goo detailing and a lime green zipper, silver platform boots with pink laces, and an oversized black and white jacket with a brain pattern on it. She also comes with a grey beanie and a skateboard. I'm really sorry to anyone who likes this doll, but honestly she's just a hot mess. Her color scheme and outfit make her look way too similar to Frankie, the big brain print jacket is an eyesore, the light brown eyebrows don't match anything at all, and the pink lipstick is an affront to—
Bro, she's Julia. Who the fuck is this? Is fucking what the fuck? Why? I don't understand. Why did they make her a skater girl? Like, she's supposed to be super smart and good in school and like very into like academics and stuff like that. And she was like really cool. She had this really cool like 50s diner kind of looking, like, I don't know, how do you, not 50s diner, like she had the cool 50s diner glasses, but she also had like this really, I don't know, man, she wasn't this. She wasn't this.
Everything that is good in the world. I think one thing that Ghoulia desperately needed, among other things, was her red color scheme back.
There you go. This was her. This was what she was. What she looked like. Dude, look how cool she looks there. Like, you could really tell what kind of girl she is. You could really tell what kind of girl she is. She had like that punk rock aesthetic going on, and she was good in school. And then I remember there was this one animated short that came out of her getting like she got like a scooter and stuff. I remember that. This outfit has so much soul. The new one is soulless.
Mint green, dark blue, hot pink combo just really isn't working for her, and I'm super sad to see that they've dropped any and all traces of her more scene/emo style from the original doll. Her stripy, fishnetty emo look was absolutely iconic, so to see it replaced with a bland, clashing, quote-unquote skater look that doesn't even look like anything is incredibly disappointing. I'm so sorry, Ghoulia, they did you dirty. Toralei Stripe has kept a lot of her old features. She still has orange skin, a cattail and ears, and red hair, however now it's long and flowing rather than choppy and short, and to my complete and utter
look at the old Toralei. She was such a bitch. Like, you love to hate this bitch. She was the it bitch of the school. Everyone fucking hated her. No one wanted to be her fucking friend. And in every single special, like, she would always get fucked over because she always tried to be the biggest bitch possible and be as mean as she fucking can. And I loved her for it.
May she no longer has the emo hair stripes, which not only looked badass but also helped to reinforce the whole tiger/cat motif, so it's a shame that she doesn't have them anymore. A Reddit user called the doll maker actually cut Generation 3 Toralei's hair shorter to see how it would look, and the difference is huge. In my opinion, it looks so much better in the style. The new doll is a lot more expressive with raised eyebrows and a smirk, though she too falls victim to the annoying habit Generation 3 has of using the most generic
Pete, these are Monster High dolls. They're a collection of fashion dolls from Mattel that were very popular back in like the 2010s, and then they kind of like died off, but now they rebooted the series and now they're back, but they're like completely different dolls.
Pink coral.
So I'm just complaining about it.
Lip colors that look like they came straight out of a 2007 tween fashion catalog. Her outfit consists of a graphic white tee with a cat on it, a red leather jacket, a black and yellow skirt with claw marks on it, and a chain belt. She wears white Doc Marten-esque boots with red claw mark decals and fuzzy pom-poms attached to them. I actually think the boots really work for the sort of rock girl aesthetic they're going for, but the random claw marks kill me. They just come off as so lazy. Like, you couldn't have incorporated the cat theme into the shoe in any other way. I don't know, maybe I've just been...
Here's another thing. Why is she with the main group? Like, she was never their friend. She was always a bitch. What the fuck? This is not her.
How intricate and insane the Generation 1 shoes were, but even though I prefer the flatter look, a lot of the shoes in the new gen are a little bit lacking. In general though, Toralei is okay. She's just okay. Twyla, the daughter of the Boogeyman, was released as part of the Creepover party.
No, wait, they brought back Twyla? What? Wow. As part of the main cast? Are you... Interesting. Twyla has always been like a one-off type character, but what the fuck? What the fuck did they do to her?
Range and takes on a more vibrant, youthful appearance. She has light purple skin and bright turquoise hair with purple streaks, and her outfit matches with this color.
Yeah, this is Twyla. She's daughter of the Boogeyman
scheme. She wears a slouchy off-the-shoulder sweater over top of a skirt with deep purple platform.
She was friends with Howleen, and she was in the movie, I think it was like that Wishes movie. She was friends with Howleen.
Sandals/heels. Unfortunately, as a soldier in the...
Guys, y'all don't understand how deep I was into this fucking franchise.
Twyla Army, she was one of my favorite characters of the original, and I even have
Look how cute her original doll is. What the fuck did they do to her? Look how cute it is. She's so cute. They nerfed my girl, man. She was so perfect before. She was so cool. And then they fucking turned her into this. What the fuck is this?
The shoulder sweater over top of a skirt with deep purple
she just looks like a totally different girl. She doesn't look like the Twyla
as a soldier in the Twyla Army, she was one of my favorite characters of the original, and I even have her original doll. I just really don't like the new redesign. It takes that really ethereal purple, black, and green color scheme and really just washes it out and sucks the life out of it.
Oh my god, if they re-release River Styx, get out.
Pun intended. Her original design with its preppy and creepy style and all of its intricate details has been heavily simplified, and her spooky dreamy color palette has been washed out by this garish turquoise they've decided to use. They also changed her really cool black gradient hands and shadowy legs into these like weird painted on maroon gloves and garish swirls around her legs. It doesn't give that same shadowy look at all, and I'm actually genuinely surprised it looks so bad considering how much attention to detail the doll sculpts and paint jobs got in this generation. The one thing I do really like is that they gave Twyla this pink satin bunny hat with big ears. Cute. I think it looks cute and just functions as a really unique design element that sets her apart from the other characters, especially given how basic her outfit is. Abby Abominable and Claude Wolf designs have been
Alright, I am Abby Abominable. Abby Abominable is the daughter of the Abominable Snowman. I've always been a huge fan of hers. I love her. She's like one of my favorite ghouls, okay? And I admit I was a little skeptical on how they were going to re-release Abby, but I am thoroughly pleased. They did change a couple of things about her. But what the fuck did they do to Claude, bro? I'm not mad at Abby, but Claude was this really cool, sporty himbo character.
Been revealed, but the dolls haven't actually been released yet. From the images, I think both of them look fantastic, especially Abby. They absolutely nailed her design. Her doll is a really good example of how to modernize an old design in a way that still retains elements of the original, but elevates it. Aside from the basic dolls themselves, Generation 3 of Monster High has continued the trend of releasing—
Yeah, Claude looks like he's about to go make a YouTube video, like, he's a vlogger, But in the original, he's like this big sports guy, like, he's the captain of the, what was it called? Captain of the Fright Ball team or whatever the fuck?
New series and themes. Alongside the basic dolls, they released the aforementioned Creepover Party set with super cute loungewear and sleepwear outfits for all of the characters. They released 3 dolls in the Day Out range, which is a simpler, lower budget series. They've released a couple of multi-packs, including a 6-pack of ghoul spirit dolls wearing school sports and cheering outfits. Ultimate Secret stands out as one of the more interesting and innovative lines that have come out in recent memory. The dolls come in these large coffin-shaped boxes with these little compartments on the side. The doll comes in this main compartment, which opens up to look like a school locker, and using the keys found inside, you can open up the rest of the locker to reveal different outfits and accessories. The variety of clothes are great, they're really fun and easy to mix and match, and I think this whole design is really clever because it encourages unboxing style content. I wouldn't call it a blind bag since the clothes are the same in every box, but it's blind bag adjacent since the box really hypes up the mystery of what's in these compartments, and the clothes even come in these mysterious little bags covered in question marks. Using the key to open up these mysterious goodies just lends itself to fun unboxing and review content. It's a cool way of packaging the dolls, and I think they're really utilizing the fan base and their marketing potential in their favor. They've clearly been successful, as Mattel are releasing a second wave of Skullman's Secrets, this time with an iridescent theme.
Yo, what the fuck? Frankie's doll looks badass. Damn. Frankie's doll looks badass. What the fuck? Holy shit. Wow, she is slaying.
Which is really neat.
Oh my god, I love her. I love everything about that.
There are some really great outfits here. A new series of Monster Ball dolls have also—
oh my god, it's so cute. What the fuck?
been revealed but not yet released, which I think look amazing. There's a lot of detail in these designs, and it really harkens back to the kind of styles and intricate detailing that you'd see in Generation 1, from the giant bow on—
I'm sorry, but Laguna Girl, no. What the fuck? Why do they always gotta fuck Laguna?
Laura's dress, to all of the sparkly ruffles on Cleo's outfit, to Claudine's freaky fabulous satin purple suit.
Happening?
They're still plagued by ugly garish pink lipstick syndrome though, so you can't win them all. But now that we've covered the redesigns of Generation 3 and all of the lines that Mattel has released, let's actually take
old Claudine would never be caught dead in a fucking tux.
a deep dive into why these dolls are so divisive.
Uh-oh.
So there are two primary reasons that fans tend to give for disliking the third generation of Monster High. Firstly, the redesigns, and secondly, the character changes. Let's start with the most obvious and glaring change, the redesigns. The redesigns of Generation 3 were a lot more bold and brash than those of Generation 2, overhauling many characters and giving them completely new, almost unrecognizable looks, as we've already covered. There have been countless Reddit threads and Twitter posts and Instagram infographics on how terrible and awful these new designs are, and a lot of what those complaints boil down to is not goth enough. And yeah, actually, I agree, kind of. The original Monster High was so successful because it dared to be weird and monstrous and embraced more alternative fashions during an era where they were less socially accepted than today. I'm not saying tweens were being executed in the streets for wearing knee-high Converse in 2010 or whatever, but today a lot of historically weird and alternative fashion has entered the mainstream and is a lot more normalized than it was back then. All you need to do is take a look at how much backlash there was about these dolls being evil satanic temptresses and skimpy Hot Topic clothing that's gonna corrupt my daughter to see just how big of a risk they took, and that's part of what made them so appealing. There also just wasn't really anything else like it at the time. The dolls had vampy gothic clothing, they had dark makeup and piercings and crazy strappy heels, they wore fishnets and ruffles and corsets, and it worked because they clearly put a lot of thought and respect into these designs. They weren't gimmicky, spooky Halloween dolls, they were just portrayed as normal, cool high schoolers who had unique and vibrant fashion styles, and that resonated with a lot of young girls. Most people remember Monster High fondly because of this very distinct gothic.
Girl, her name was Honey Swamp. Oh my god, I'm just showing how much of a loser I am. She was the daughter of the swamp monster.
Aesthetic. So removing that aesthetic entirely, even for the purposes of modernizing the brand, really strips Monster High.
You don't understand. I own like almost every doll.
What made it so special and unique. And yeah, the fashions are still alternative in a sense, but it's that trendy TikTok teen style of alternative that borrows from safer, more mainstream fashion trends, which overall just make the brand feel a lot less daring and counterculture than it was back in the day. The box art is a great example of this.
I loved
the original box art was primarily black.
I loved the show more than the dolls. I did have a couple of the Ever After High dolls, but I feel like the face molds were just like not it sometimes. The face mold of the dolls, the ones that I did like is Maddie. I loved Maddie. I loved Maddie a lot. Maddie Hatter. And then I loved Raven Queen. I loved Raven Queen too.
With accent colors matching each individual character with very 2010s decals and patterns splashed across the box like stitched hearts and chains and lightning bolts. A lot of collectors keep their Generation 1 dolls in the box, and it makes a lot of sense because the boxes are so unique to each character and just look really striking and gorgeous. But compare this to the new dolls and they just don't have that same drama, that same flair, that same gothic aesthetic. The rainbow color scheme gives it a more immature look and is way less in line with the monstrous theme. There are a lot of fan redesigns and restyles of the characters for Generation 3, and I'm gonna be honest, a lot of them just replicate the old Generation 1 aesthetic with ulti Pinterest fashion instead. The truly genius redesigns take the brighter, more modern style of Generation.
That Frankie, why? What? Dude, that Frankie doll, holy shit. They never miss with the Frankie doll. And the fucking Draculaura doll is so cute. What the fuck? What? What am I seeing? I need these. These dolls are so cute. What the fuck? They're so perfect. Holy shit. Damn. Hot.
Generation 3 and work with it to create a healthy mix of classic Monster High glamour and the more vibrant, trendy new generation style. There's a way to blend the two and make something cute, fun, and trendy with TikTok kids while still giving it a bit of edge. It doesn't have to be as dramatic and glamorous as the original generation, but a bit more flair would probably be appreciated. On the other hand though, I think it's important to remember that Mattel is clearly trying to market to a younger, more hip and online generation, so the changes they've made make sense. While personally I have my own criticisms of the style style they went for and some of the design decisions, I don't think they're bad dolls by any measure. They're fun and appealing and well thought out, and given the demographic that they're marketed towards, I'd say they're a success. To be honest, I think if Generation 1 didn't exist, they'd be received a lot better, but unfortunately when you're adapting such a legendary brand, the comparison to the originals are always going to be there. Now let's talk about the character changes. One of the big draws of the new generation is that it's more diverse, body inclusive, and gender inclusive than ever before. This was a pretty big deal. In my previous Monster High video, we talked in depth about the controversies surrounding the brand and their historical reluctance to embrace more diverse characters when their entire brand revolved around being unique and true to yourself. For example, Kieran Valentine was originally meant to be a gay character, as evidenced by snippets.
I remember this character from the movie. Oh my god.
From his diary, but Mattel nixed this idea, claiming that it, quote, wasn't the right time. They also changed Claudine's little sister Howlene's hair from curly and textured to long and straight, and changed her color scheme to be more girly. Their words, not mine. They were adamant about Spectra Vondergeist not having quote unquote severe cheekbones, to the point where the design team had to go behind Mattel's back to give her a more defined facial structure. And of course there was the whole debate around the doll's body shapes, which even by fashion doll standards were pretty outrageously thin. Generally, Monster High is considered to be a pretty ahead of its time doll line with very progressive marketing and messaging and characters, but it's also not immune to being a product of the 2010s. You know, some things haven't aged the best, which is why it was so interesting to see that Mattel had fully embraced this more diverse side of the brand with a large overhaul of all of the characters. In Generation 3, Frankie is non-binary and uses they/them pronouns, and this isn't just implied or vaguely suggested or anything. It's a prominent feature of Frankie's character, and they outright mention it multiple times, which is cool. Draculaura was introduced as half Taiwanese, with her mother, a Taiwanese vampire called Wei.
I didn't know that. I didn't know. Wow, they got rid of the whole, like,
Fang being
Transylvanian thing.
Introduced in the animated series. Claudine is Afro-Latina and also half human, half werewolf.
She's Latinian!
Which, the logistics of that are deeply confusing to me, because a werewolf is already half human and half wolf, right? So, I don't know. And Laguna is now Latina instead of being Australian, having been born.
Listen, this is the biggest one that, like, kinda... This is the one that kinda... I loved her as an Aussie, but, you know, I have to, like... I have to be happy because she's Latina, but... I'm happy that she's Latinian. I love all the Latinian representation, but I kind of miss her as an Aussie.
On the coast of Honduras. It's also heavily implied in the television show that Frankie and Cleo have a crush on each other. A romance between a non-binary character and a female character would be a pretty bold move that not a lot of other shows have taken, so it would be cool to see that storyline eventuate into something, even though people who shipped Cleo and Juice are still pissing and spinning and throwing up about it. Sorry guys, some things just aren't meant to last. RIP. While these changes are generally regarded as positive by most fans, with many appreciating the representation and feeling that the franchise has taken a step in the right direction by openly embracing more diverse characters, others feel differently. On one hand, you have pretty blatantly bigoted people talking about forced representation and shoving it in people's faces and going woke, and I think it's pretty much fine to just dismiss all those criticisms as dumb. Because they are. But others have raised more interesting points. For example, Draculaura has been marketed as a plus-size doll, but fans have argued that upon examining her body shape, she's actually just average size. Her thighs are thicker than the other dolls, and she has an ever so slightly rounder face, but her waist is still pretty thin, and overall many have claimed that she only looks quote-unquote plus-size when compared to the rest of the cast, who are still conventionally thin. The Generation 3 bodies are definitely more realistic and filled out than the original series, but most of the characters are still conventionally thin, and it's been argued that Draculaura actually isn't great representation of a plus-size body shape. However, on the other hand, many have expressed their gratitude for the character and how represented they feel by her, so it's definitely a complex issue. At the very least, characters having more diverse and varied body shapes is a definite step in the right direction that I hope Mattel continues to push. Unsurprisingly, Frankie's new non-binary identity caused a stir among idiots on Twitter.
Sorry.
God.
Throughout September and October of 2022, the official Monster High YouTube channel released several songs introducing the various main characters, which were animated in this really cool, almost stop-motion looking style, which I actually kind of wish they kept for the TV show. It looks really good. Frankie's song was called Spark to Life and featured a line that read, quote, "It's they for me, not he or she, cause labels ain't a thing for me, FRANKIE, proud of my identity, everything is new to me, just finding what I'm meant to be." This whole debate started up over how this was pandering and shoving it in people's faces and how it was so silly and there was no subtlety or depth, and the reason for that is it's a kids show and franchise. And Frankie singing a fun little ditty about being non-binary and what their pronouns are is a good way to introduce kids and tweens to the concept.
Well, I mean, if you really think about it, they are supposed to be, they are supposed to be the child of Frankenstein's monster, which means they're comprised of the body of different fucking monsters. So it's like, it makes sense.
For the first time ever in a fun and simple way. That's really it. There's also been some discourse about how since Frankie is non-binary, they should be presenting in a more masculine or androgynous way and not such a quote-unquote feminine way. And speaking from personal experience, I think that's kind of silly. I think non-binary people can present however they want. You know, there's no set way that people look. It doesn't make Frankie any more or less non-binary because of how they dress. Also, weirdly, a lot of people were mad that Laguna wasn't Australian anymore.
Oh no, that's me. Oh no.
If I'm being real, the only good thing that came out of Laguna being Australian was that terrible fake accent that her voice actor did.
Yes, the library is a wonderful place to study and to enter knowledge into your brain. I mean, if you have one.
As well as that fake diary entry that circulated a while ago.
Oh no. One of my first days at Monster High, I used a word which in the Down Under is perfectly normal. But up here, the dry world is way, way offensive. I'm not gonna write it down here. It's that bad, needless to say, I got in really hot water with Headmistress Bloodgood. My dad had to come in and explain the situation. I'm like, I didn't get expelled. What the fuck? Huh? Is she talking about the C word? Also, I like the fact that her handwriting is like wavy, like
ago that heavily implies that she called someone a cunt. That was genuinely hilarious, but aside from that, it's really not that big of a deal that her character is different. Also, before we finish up, I have to air one of my own very petty personal grievances with Generation 3. So Anna Kadish is a Russian artist who's amassed a huge following online for her quirky and dynamic art style, so when I heard that she was going to be working on Monster High, I was super excited. And I was right to be. The concept art that she created is absolutely stunning, showcasing various different potential designs and styles, all drawn in this beautiful, flowing, vibrant, dynamic style. These are all obviously early concepts, so not all of these designs made it through to the final product, but they're still gorgeous and a really interesting insight into how the style and look of Generation 3 was developed. And then the official box art was released and it was weird and kind of off-looking. People really didn't like it. There was this sort of uncomfortable, uncanny quality to it, and apparently that's because Mattel took Anna Kadish's original artwork and had another artist render over top of it, which is why it's kind of a weird mix of
Mattel, what the heck did you Oh no. Oh dear. Are you telling me this could have been our box art? Jesus, come on. It's so the art on the left is so good.
Her cartoony simplified style with weirdly in-depth shading and colors. It doesn't look right and it irks me. They should have just let Anna do the whole thing so it looked consistent. And speaking of consistency, a bunch of other lines that have come out have completely different art styles on the box, utilizing a more classic, hyper-realistic, detailed fashion render, more in line.
Oh my god, no. This is no. Absolutely not.
with Generation 1. It's a small thing, but the lack of consistency definitely gives the brand a less organized feel and aesthetic.
What is happening?
I think eventually it will settle into a more consistent and established style, but for now let's hope that the style kind of changing and swapping all over the place is just a symptom of Monster High once again finding its feet.
Conclusion.
It's still very early days for the third generation of Monster High. As of the publishing of this video, it's been out for less than a year and we've probably only seen a fraction of what's to come.
Personally, though I miss Generation 1 of Monster High and
Me
don't
too.
think the brand will ever reach those heights again, I like the new dolls and I'm excited to see what the future brings Monster High and Mattel. There are so many cool little touches on these dolls, so much thought has gone into them and what they represent, and they're just plain old fun to collect. But I really want to know how you guys feel. I'm so interested to hear from people who are fans of Generation 3, people who really don't like Generation 3, hardcore fans, people who have just joined the fandom, or just people who have no idea what Monster High is about and tuned into this video because they like to watch videos about things they don't know about, which same. But genuinely, I'm really curious to hear. I always love seeing the discussions in the comments. What are your thoughts about Generation 3? Do you like the new designs? Do you like the old designs? What things do you think could be improved? Where do you think the series is going? Honestly, I just love seeing the discussion, so definitely let your thoughts be known down there. And yeah, I really hope that you enjoyed the video. I obviously am a big fan of Monster High. I have a lot of the dolls, so seeing the
I
new
agree though, Gen 1, there's just something special about Gen 1 that's just, I don't think you could duplicate that ever again, you know?